Hi, welcome back to another tutorial on MPC Machine. If you've been following us so far, you should have a beat that sounds like this. Okay, well so far we've spoken about tracks, we've spoken about programs, and we even know how to change the tempo. But what we haven't spoken about is sequences. So all this information, different tracks, the many programs that you create are all stored in a sequence. We chain sequences together to make songs. Each pattern or sequence will be varied to differentiate from the last one. So for example, sequence 1 might have one type of drum pattern, sequence 2 will have another drum pattern or a different sound layered onto it. We then chain them together to make songs. We can start this process by copying from one sequence, i.e. this drum pattern that we have here, into an empty sequence, which will be sequence 2. And that's what I'm going to do right now to show you how to copy sequences. So use the cursor key to head to the sequence row and then press the Option 2 button. Make sure the tab that says Copy is selected. This is our copy screen and allows us to copy from one sequence to another. All the information you're looking at pertains to the sequence we just started from. So in this case, we're looking at sequence 1. So what we're saying on the top row is we're saying we're going to copy from sequence 1 to sequence 1. This isn't what we want, but we're going to make the changes after. If we look on the next line, this allows us to specify the range of sequence 1 that we want to copy. We want the full range in bars, so from the start bar to the end bar. That is fine, but we can change it here if we want to. On the next line is the destination sequence we want to copy to. At the moment it's set to sequence 1, but we don't want that. We want to change it to another sequence. We're going to use the plus button and change it to sequence 2. So we're basically going to copy from sequence 1 to sequence 2. If you look at the very top, the information line, it's gone green and it gives us that information. Copy from sequence 1 to sequence 2. Leave number of copies as it is, just one copy, and click on Do It, and that's it. And as simple as that, you now have two sequences. Press play to play the music. Make sure that you're in the sequencer and use the left cursor key to go back to sequence 1. As you can see in the top right hand corner, you'll have an info display telling you what the next sequence is going to be. Now press the right cursor key to go back to sequence 2. At the moment they're very identical. Well, they are identical. So you've got to make a change to one so that we can actually know the sound difference between the two of them. To do this, make sure you're on sequence 2. I'm going to delete some notes on sequence 2. So if you keep your finger on open hat, press the Option 2 button and erase that pad recording. You should know how to do this. This was done in tutorial number 1. If you haven't watched that, please watch that video again. And also, we're going to delete the snare. So keep the finger on snare, Option 2 button, erase that pad recording. Now press play. We've got a very simple stripped back copy of sequence 1. And now let's navigate between the two of them and hear the difference. Okay, quick note. On the LCD screen of MPC Machine, reading from the bottom up, you can see we have track, program, sequence, and tempo. For each of these options, we can highlight them and use the Option 2 button to show us more features about that particular item. So for example, if we scroll down to track 1, I can press the Option 2 button, a pop-up window will appear, and I can edit any information regarding that track, such as if I want to copy a track I want to rename a track, delete a track, and so on. The same is true if I scroll up to the program line. I can edit any information about that program, create a new one, rename it, delete it, and so on. I can also scroll right up to the tempo bar and change anything about the tempo or the timing of that track, the speed, the quantize, and so on. You've already seen the sequence role, so we're not going to get into that. But it's just useful to know that you have more functions available to you on each role regarding the program's tracks, tempo, and the sequence. So remember, you highlight the role that you want to edit and then press the option 2 button. Okay, and that's about it for this tutorial. A brief overview of what you've learned. So you've learned how to copy a sequence, you learned how to change a sequence, you've learned how to edit a sequence in terms of, making one unique, making them unique from each other. And you've just learned a brief overview of the role options, for track, program, sequence, and tempo. As per usual, if there's anything you don't understand, please watch this tutorial again before moving on to the next one. Thank you very much. Enjoy.